have been running what they're calling the DTM Spring Cup, which will allow users of Race Room Racing Experience to jump in and drive against real-world DTM drivers. Now, unfortunately, I missed the first 3 qualifiers. We're currently on week 4, but the structure they had it set up is that they've got 4 time trial qualifiers. Based on your position in those time trials, you get a score, and the people with the highest score will then get invited to the final race with the real drivers. Now, because I missed all the qualifiers, there's no chance of me getting into that final race. But to be fair, looking at the lap times of people, I don't think that was going to happen anyway. But because we've still got 1 week left, I thought it'd be interesting to jump in and see what lap time I can get on the final qualifier, which is on Circuit Park Zandvoort, which is an absolutely insane track. One of the awesome things with Race Room is that if you're logged into Steam, then you can log into the Race Room website, check the leaderboard, see what events are going on, and if anything catches your fancy, you can just launch from the website rather than having to load the game up and fiddle with that. So we're already on the DTM Spring Cup page here. As you can see, it's on week 4, so I'm just going to click launch event, get real, and because we don't, you know, we only get real. We don't want amateur. I think you have to have get real difficulty to actually qualify for this event. So we're loading in, and it should just put us straight onto the relevant track, event, and everything that's needed to set a lap time. So we're ready to drive and do the hot lap. It starts off with a rolling start. I've got the racing line on. Normally I wouldn't bother having the racing line on, but for pure hot lapping and for learning a track, and in this case I don't really know Zandvoort Park too well, it's a really nice racing line for getting up to speed in a track, because it shows where you've been changing gear, and as you see by the big red exclamation mark, where you last put the brakes on. So although it's a little bit cheating, it makes it a lot faster to optimise your braking and get yourself up to speed. And I find once I've got into sort of the last 1 second of pace, that's when you can really turn off this racing line. But as a negative, I think you do have to be careful that you don't lean on the racing line too much. You can sort of become dependent on it if you were, if you were always using it. But this car and track, the track is absolutely crazy. I mean, you know, it's been in GTR Evo and R Factor, I think, but I just really haven't spent that much time on it. But it's an absolutely ridiculous track. Again, it's just spaghetti road everywhere. Cambered corners. It's a bit like if someone decided to build a racetrack in Teletubby Land, really. We're going to totally miss that. But combined with this car, which has absolutely bags of grip, especially at speed due to its downforce, and this car's power, which allows you to really power out of corners, which is just really satisfying. It's a really good combination, and I think I've spent about an hour or so driving this track with this car now, and I've just had a really good time. And I think that's the thing with Race Room Racing Experience, is it's a really easy sim to just jump into and have a good time with. I mean, I know the micro transactions and the way they've divided all the content up, it's a little bit irritating. It's the kind of thing that really irritates me. But if you just buy, you know, like the packs, the series, for example, in this case it's the DTM 2014 series or season pass they call it, or you just buy a bunch of tracks and then one car for each series, ideally the fastest car or the car that's best suited to you, and you can test drive the cars free, so you don't need to buy them or to try them out, then it's not that expensive to get into the simulator, have a bunch of content, be able to jump in online and race, and then of course get involved with these competitions. And absolutely fantastic that they've given people the opportunity to drive with real people, or even just to see, you know, how your lap times compare to a real world driver. And maybe it does add some credibility to the simulation, the fact that the real world drivers have put down times that are in the sort of top 100, with 3 of the real world drivers being in the top 20, I think. So be interesting to see how long they could stay there, because obviously you know, if you're a real world driver, there's only a limited amount of time you're going to be able to spend on this game compared to someone that's sat in their bedroom dedicated to beating the time. And obviously it's not the real thing. It's a game, so it's going to be different to what they spent their time doing. But it's just fascinating that as it is right now, the real world drivers are actually doing quite well against those of us with vitamin D deficiency. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just pootling at the moment whilst I talk. I am using the default setup with this, and I think, as I said, I'm about 4 seconds off the pace really, so I can see where I'm losing. Even with the default setup, I can see where I'm losing about 1.5 seconds just by driving bad. And for me, I drive terrible until I get to like the last 2 seconds or so. I'll just keep going a lap after lap, driving really ragged, making loads of mistakes, and just getting familiar with the track, getting familiar with different aspects of either car handles when you absolutely bodge a corner. But I can certainly see if I was to drive this really smooth and maybe after having a sleep on it, I should be able to get within 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds of pace with the default setup, which would be nice. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to shut up and I'm just going to do a couple of hot laps, see if I can beat my last time that I set. I do really enjoy this car though. I was going to shut up, but I've started talking again. I do really enjoy how you can power out with the sheer power of this car and balance the throttle and the counter steering on the exit corners, which is just a really, really enjoyable aspect of driving. And I think a lot of simulated cars and some simulators with certain cars just struggle to capture that aspect of driving. But this is fantastic, and along with the force feedback, which is really communicative. You know, if you're on the limit of the braking, if the car's understeering, if the car's oversteering, and the self-aligning torque is really good and sharp, and a lot heavier than other simulators. So if you like that really strong self-aligning feeling of the steering, along with some nice track bumps and things, then you've definitely got to give Race Room Racing Experience a try. Okay, let's go for a moderately good lap. Let's try it. that's what happens when you try. We're gonna go for a restart. No, still miles off it, so I'm going to go for another one. And this is where Race Room catches you out, because you will just sit doing this over and over and over and over and over again, thinking, oh, I'll just do one more lap. I'll definitely be able to beat my lap time this time. And you can see the other person that's just slightly faster than you at the top of the screen, and you're thinking, oh, you know, I can improve by that much. I can improve by that much. But I think that's what they've done really well with this game, is it's got the balance between simulator and game pretty much spot on. Really nice deep physics, but you know, aspects of presentation with the game elements that make it approachable and really addictive. Can't beat myself. So I've just gone downhill. You know it's bad when you're slower than yourself. Oh no! On the inside of the curb, car flopping around like a pancake in a frying pan. Okay, we're going to go for this again. Third time lucky. Oh, I already messed up the first corner. Tell you what's really nice actually, the with the Fanatec clubsport V2 pedals, I've got fan LEDs on as well, but it gives you a really nice. You get the rumble motor for when you're on the braking limit, or when you're applying the pressure to the brake, for when you're going to be approaching, locking up the tyres, and it's really nice getting that feedback from the simulator, just to give you an additional aspect of feel as to what's going on in the game, because simulators are so dislocated from reality, or what the game really needs to communicate to you for you to react to it. It's just nice how seamless everything just works with Race Room Racing Experience, considering where it started out, and over the last year or so the force feedback's improved, the physics have improved, and this DTM experience expansion, season pass, whatever you want to call it, just a really nice simulator. I think I'm gonna throw in the towel because it's just too much pressure talking and driving to get a good hot lap. But make sure you go on the scoreboards for this. I can't remember what it's called, the Spring Cup or the DTM Experience 2014 Race Against Real Drivers event they're doing. Make sure you check out the scoreboard. I'd say I'm 106th at the moment, so you can get on and you can make an embarrassment of me by beating my time. I'm going to try and improve my time. As I say, I think I can improve it by about 1.5 to 2 seconds with the default setup, and then I'll probably have a little bit of a fiddle with some other setups. But definitely worth checking out. Absolutely fantastic fun car to drive. Fantastic track. Absolutely insane track, to be honest. I'm surprised half the drivers that drive on it actually leave alive. You'd expect them all to be dead, embedded in the wall somewhere because of how close the walls are and the speed of these corners. And like I said, it's a bit like Teletubby Land. But somehow it's legal and people race on it. But yeah, check it out. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, follow us on Facebook, all that business. And I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching and goodbye.